Morning, Peter.
Morning, Dawn. We're here making axes. As a treat for my birthday, Dawn booked us on an axe making course at Highfield Forge, which is located near Horbury Junction in West Yorkshire. When we went, we had no intention of recording a video about it, but as the day progressed, we were enjoying it so much we couldn't help but reach for the camera to get some footage. Being a last minute decision to record means this isn't a full-on how-to video, more just a look at the basic process of making an axe in a forge. The block of steel that will become our axe head is made up of two types of metal. The process begins by heating this up in a gas-fired forge. Once up to temperature, the fun really begins. As you see here, Dawn is striking the hot steel with a large hammer. The process is known as forge welding, and this is where the two different metals join together with a combination of the heat and the force of the hammer blows. Once the forge welding was completed, we then used a fly press and the big hammer to turn our lump of steel into something that resembled an axe head. At this stage, this is what they then look like. With the axe heads back up to temperature, we then needed to use firstly a small drift, followed by a larger one, to open up the back portion of the axe head. This is where the wooden handle will be inserted later.
You should get that. Not enough people get the other side. When you release these, you want to hit where the actual drift is. Right. So what it does, it bounces the sides off it. And if you hit it where the drift isn't, jams it.
Are we ready?
Yeah, I'll just get you to open that up. I'll bring a little drift round. In there and hit it. That's the one. Now let's say from the other side.
At this point, the temporary handle is removed, so we are now left with just the axe head. Pictured here with a block of steel, just like the one that we started with. And now it's time to clean them up. This is one of the few processes that we couldn't do ourselves. Andy, the owner of the forge, has to do it, as the insurers won't allow the students to use the angle grinders. So it was the perfect opportunity for us to grab a well-earned drink and a little sit down for 5 minutes. The next step seems rather bizarre, as we have to use a coarse grade sandpaper to grind the front edge of the axe to make it flat and blunt. Surely axes shouldn't be blunt, but this is to remove any hammer marks left by the forging process, giving us a nice straight edge which we can work with from here on in. We now need to put a bevel on the leading edge of the axe. This is done by repeatedly running the front of the axe head, one side at a time, down the sandpaper, keeping the axe at approximately 20 degrees from the machine until we bring both sides in to form a pointed edge. The head is then heated one last time, and as we remove it from the furnace, we instantly dipped it in a tank of oil. This is heat treatment, and that's what makes the steel strong enough to be able to be sharpened and for it to keep its edge whilst chopping wood. We then need to add the handle. This is a pre-made item made from hickory timber. Andy aged this by running a blowtorch over it first of all and then wiping it over with some oil just to protect it. The handle is then marked to the shape of the hole in the axe where it will fit. Andy then uses the grinder to get it to the right size. It's then time for what looks like a magic trick. This is how we get the head onto the handle.
Way to do this without destroying your handle. If you sit that on a hard surface, hit that with something hard, you'll dent that. And even if it was something soft like that, you can take that little knuckle off like that. So if you hold that relatively free, but not free enough so it obviously goes fire down your hand. Very clever. Fire it on like that. So like, you probably get a couple of taps out like this, but you didn't quite see all of it.
So hold it like that. And
yeah.
any excess timber is trimmed off using a bandsaw. A crucial part of the process is to drive a steel wedge into the top of the handle. This is what locks it in place so that the axe head won't come flying off when in use.
Burn that little bit in for you there.
Yeah, if you don't mind, please. At this point we do have a completed axe, but one last pass on each side using a fine sandpaper on the sanding machine gives it a nice sharp cutting edge.
Should have a nice little shiny yellow. Move that the same out the side. Okay. Keep up. That's it.
The piece of steel and the handle in the centre are basically what we started with, and we turned those items into the axes you see there. Before heading home, Andy got out a couple of other items that he's made, and he runs courses on these as well. So what's next for us? Is it knife making, or should we go all out and make a sword each? Thanks for watching then folks. See you all later. Bye bye.